Hi everyone, this is Heather Lottinen from the Flourish.Academy. This is episode 409. Today we're talking about forming an LLC, that's a limited liability corporation. For many photographers, not all, they choose to form either a sole proprietorship or an LLC. In some cases, we do have some S corps, but for most of the people I work with, it's either a sole proprietor or an LLC. And a few people I'm working with right now are in the process of forming their LLC, and they had a couple of questions that I thought it might be best to answer via video in case you have these questions as well. There are essentially two ways to form an LLC. One is you can contact a lawyer and work with them directly and they can help you, which is fine. It's going to be a little bit more expensive, but you will have some hand holding and you'll have someone that you can ask questions to directly. The other option, and the option that I chose, was to use LegalZoom.com. I used LegalZoom years ago, many years ago, to form my LLC. It's much more robust these days, and I think, oh, don't quote me, I think they have 3 options in terms of how much hand holding they do, and obviously that corresponds to the price. So they have a really inexpensive option where you literally do everything, but they walk you through the process, but you would file all of the paperwork, etc. And then they have a higher end package where they hold your hand and you can ask them questions, much like a lawyer, but obviously without the personal touch. So you could do this any way that you choose, but I did want to give you a couple tips around this. When you're forming your LLC, I would recommend keeping a very generic name. So for instance, my LLC is Heather Lottinen Photography LLC, which on one hand, I'm glad I did. I'm glad that I did not form it as Weddings by Heather because I enjoy doing other types of photography. I do have Weddings by Heather listed as a DBA, that's doing business as. So legally, Weddings by Heather falls under the Heather Lottinen Photography LLC umbrella. So I would recommend keeping a generic name and you can add DBAs, but I would take it one step further. I would suggest that you pick a name for your LLC that is incredibly generic and maybe just your name, so that if you evolve in your business or life and you decide that you're a photographer today and a landscape artist tomorrow, you could have several DBAs underneath of that one LLC umbrella, and that would just kind of keep it neater. So my husband has an LLC and it's CS Lottinen Enterprises. Doesn't that sound fancy? Man, I wish I would have done that. And then another question I received was, should I include my husband on my LLC, or would that complicate things? My answer is absolutely, I would not do that. I would not recommend that. It would complicate things because then it's almost a partnership and there has to be one partner that has more than the other. So you can never have a 50-50 partnership. I learned this, at least this was the advice I received from a lawyer at one point. At the very least, it would have to be 49-51. But it just complicates things in terms of filing the paperwork, and it's really not necessary. It doesn't give you any more protection or change anything. So if you're going to form an LLC and it truly is your business, then I would recommend using something, maybe your name or something that could evolve into other industries, keep it generic, and then list DBA. So you would just have several doing business as, several of those underneath of one umbrella. If you have an LLC, could you let us know? And what's your name? Why did you choose it? And what does that look like for you? So I'm an LLC filing as a sole proprietor. So for tax purposes, that's how it looks. But I did form everything through LegalZoom. I do have a lawyer that I go to for different things, but I did not at the time, so I formed it myself, which means if I can do it, anybody can do it. You just have to step through the process and be patient. They'll ask you some questions you're not familiar with. That's why you have the Google. You could always look it up, but if you have any questions, you can let me know or contact me. I'll do the best that I can to help you, but I really try to stay out of legal matters and finances. I can tell you what I do and offer some of my wisdom, but I'm always going to refer you to a professional, either a lawyer or an accountant or an insurance agent, to make sure that you are properly covered. I hope that you found this useful. I'll see you in the next video.